Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Boy, it is Coaching Change Sunday. If you slept late, if you went to church, if you've been under a rock, whatever the case, Blake Lovell has an SEC football coaching landscape ever changed more than it has in say, the past dozen hours. This is just crazy to try to keep up with all of it. Where do we even start here?
Well, you talked about going to church. Isn't that what Lane Kiffin was going to do when he decided to make his decision, I think? And it sounds like, just got some very reasonable advice. But we'll get to that here in just a second in terms of the way he's handling things. But let's get started. Chris, why don't you go ahead and give us the game time sidekicks, and I'm going to update my mic here.
Yeah. Hey, we are brought to you, as always, by our friends at Game Time Sidekicks, which makes this lovely 40-ounce mug that you see in front of you there. They offer officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Every SEC school and 350 others. Stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, shaker cups, SE16. Get you 20% off your entire order at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Boy, Lane Kiffin may need to order some sippy cups after the way he's handled this, Blake.
All right, what about now, Chris? How do I sound now?
Much better.
Okay, what do you know? All right, so here we go, chat. Jump on in. There's lots of you, hundreds of you already hopping in. Chris, Jay, and I are going to go through all of these just coaching decisions, moves, reaction, all that. Give us your thoughts on your team's hire. Give us a grade. As Kentucky fans wanting to grade other things.
Wow.
They're still sitting there wondering what's going on. Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Remember, the best way to support the channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. We're going to talk about all this. All right, guys, we're gonna start with Lane Kiffin, though, because I think this is where we have to start. And then we will get to the other hires as well. But, all right, Chris, Jay, whoever wants to take this first. So the meeting has been pushed back to, 2 p.m.? Is that right?
1 or 2. It probably depends on the time zone it was spoken in.
The meeting with Kiffin and his players, or the final? Yes, I saw 1 p.m. Central Time. So, so many layers to this, guys. So many layers. Somewhere lighting Cuban cigars with $1 million bills. Forget $100 bills. That's a waste of Jimmy Sexton's time. He is in a cloud of smoke, barrel laughing. I mean, because he has manipulated this perfectly.
My answer to comment here, when are schools going to get smart? Maybe this is the beginning of it, about dates you can and can't leave and things like that, and penalties if you do, because holy smokes, some of these schools have just been held over a barrel, particularly Ole Miss in all this.
I don't know if I don't think you can put the toothpaste back in the tube, whether we're talking about Jeff Guidry, the governor of Louisiana, and obscene buyouts for firing Brian Kelly, or go back in those negotiations. But this has got to be top of mind for leadership at the NCAA, that you can't have an offseason right when the postseason starts, because this is nuts. Because it makes all the sense in the world that LSU is going to back the truck up for Lane Kiffin, who's a tremendous football coach and is now a firm team member of the guys I don't want watching my kids. But LSU has to want him now, because the next month is paramount. So the fact that all the recruiting is going on now, the portal opens on January 2nd, in a one portal window cycle, mind you. So if you're not on the job as soon as you get the job, then why are you taking the job?
Yeah. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, okay? And remember, all this information, folks, we understand this is a fast-moving scenario. Some of the stuff we tell you right now may not apply in 15 minutes, but we're going to give you some of the information that's out there right now, and you can connect the dots on a lot of this kind of stuff. Again, Kiffin's supposed to meet with the team soon, and I'm going to give you, Chris, Jay, some tweets that I found kind of interesting here on this whole thing. All right, we're going to start with Ross Dellinger here, who again says that Kiffin obviously has made it clear to Ole Miss that he is leaving for LSU. The original proposal from LSU, which was reported last Friday at Yahoo Sports, 7-year deal, more than $90 million, making him near the top of the salaries in the country. Of course, as we said, there is what Ross has described as a scramble, postponement of the meeting, because it's trying to be a situation where Ole Miss wants to retain some of its staff for the college football playoff. And now, meanwhile, as we say that, you go to some of this other stuff, and Brett McMurphy tweeted this out this was, last night. But basically the way this whole thing is playing out, quote, from a source, essentially demanding to finish the season with Ole Miss while simultaneously threatening to poach the entire Ole Miss roster and staff if he can't. The source also said, quote, it's unfortunately got even messier than expected as emotions are high. Now, if Kiffin's out of the mix for the playoff, which seems to be the case, Pete Golding expected to be named the interim head coach for this run. And it also looks like Lane Kiffin from On3 here has lined up most of his offensive staff to join him at LSU. He told them if they're not on the plane to Baton Rouge today, they won't have a spot on the staff.
God.
I mean, start wherever you want with this thing. And then once you start, I've got some stats for you that I'm going to throw some questions your way. I'm going to throw some stats your way. And you tell me if we're talking about the same Lane Kiffin that the stats tell us we're talking about here. So,
do you think if, when Lane Kiffin, if he gets married, hey, can I take my mistress and my concubine on the honeymoon too? I mean, what are we doing here?
He has a pet porcupine?
We know he has a dog, and he was tweeting from his dog's account yesterday because he sure didn't want to tweet from his own account because, never mind. Let's keep going.
Oh, this is so messed up. First of all, start and blow the whole dang thing up. You cannot keep piecemealing the rules and the system together in college football. This is crazy. We keep adding layers of stuff that only add more complications, and here we are. But anyway, I can't believe, and the SEC, the ESPN, just shielded for Lane Kiffin all freaking day yesterday. I mean, let's just put the fox inside the hen house. And I mean, the stuff that I heard yesterday was absurd. I'm sorry. We've lost our minds.
Well, we've lost our minds as an industry. We've lost our minds covering this circus, because that's what it is. It's been a complete and total circus. I don't understand how Nick Saban, who's the best to ever do this, and a whole panel of ESPN College Game Day can take collectively the point of poor Lane Kiffin, let him coach his team, let him finish what he started. What a bunch of, all right, I know it's Sunday and I just came from church. What a bunch of shit. I mean,
it's gutless. It's absolutely gutless. Somebody grow a spine.
And Salty's right. You want to talk about biblical? Lane Kiffin's going to do everything in his power to go Spurrier on Kentucky biblical for the next 3.5 years that he's in Red Stick. Yeah. And then he's going to leave for an NFL job. And he's going to be puzzled that he can't coach LSU to its second consecutive national championship.
Oh,
yeah.
So many thoughts here.
So let me just throw this out, all right? Because this is something that I've seen some people say. And it's like, well, of course Lane Kiffin should make this move. He should go to LSU because look at all and remember, the whole sticking point, one of the things that's been reported is that the sticking point was, well, how much are you going to give me for my roster? Which any coach should certainly ask that question in this era because it's the most important question you could ask. And so if LSU is going to pony up more money and he has a better chance to assemble a roster that could win, well, there are some people that I've seen say, well, it's fine because you know what? Lane's just going to go win a national championship and he's got, he's going to have more talent. He's going to have a better built roster that he can spend more money on. And it's all not going to matter when he just goes and wins a national championship, right? And so one of the arguments, too, as part of that was like, well, he's going to have the most talented roster in college football. And so, of course, he's going to go to the playoff and win a national title. So here's my question, Chris. Who had the most expensive roster in the country this season?
Was it Ole Miss? Texas Tech?
Well, I mean, wouldn't you think Texas was in there somewhere?
I would think.
So
who knows?
just to say that all of a sudden he's just going to go win a national championship at LSU, we're talking about the same guy who still, as of after this whole chaos today, will have not coached a college football playoff game, will have not been the SEC championship game. I just, how we're treating this guy as though he has multiple national championships to his credit.
I know. I've been saying this for months.
I don't know. So,
but like we had multiple requests for Max Barr. I think that'd be great if we could get Max on. Just, you know how like you see these videos where like they play a song for somebody for the first time, or so, and like you get to see their reaction. I would just like to see Max. Like, okay, Max, this is the situation. This is what happened here, here, and here, and somebody removed from it just react to it because it would be priceless.
Well, but that's the whole point of this whole thing. Max has been following this thing, just like people who don't follow this on a daily basis because it's the only thing everybody's talking about. Like I'm sitting at the family dinner last night, and there are people I've never talked to about football. They're like, what about this Lane? What's Lane Kiffin going to do? I'm like, what do you mean? You've never watched a football game in your life. But everyone is just drawn to it. And that's why like, wow, look, he's done a great job because everyone's just drawn to this. He has all the attention. I
will say this. To be fair, he's handling it like a complete D-bag. But to be fair, he is a bona fide quarterback whisperer. I mean, for God's sakes, he turned Ferris State's reject into potential, I guess, the All-SEC quarterback. And in an era where everybody's payroll is open and they're trying to conform everybody's payroll, you find guys like Brent Venables and Lane Kiffin who bring a schematic advantage to their area of expertise, and it gives you an edge. I mean, look, the person Lane Kiffin in all of this is fraudulent and hollow and duplicitous and any other thing you want to say, none of them positive. The football Lane Kiffin he's top shelf.
Is he a top 5 coach in the country?
No.
I would say he's top 10, but who are you going to put top 5? I mean, okay.
Well, no, I'm just asking. I don't have the ranking, but I'm curious. It's interesting to think about.
Let me ask you something.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Well, no, I mean, go ahead, Jay. Well, no, you finish, then I'll give you mine.
Okay. I mean, and I know we didn't get into this to go top 5, but would you rather have Lane Kiffin today or Dabo Swinney today?
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at resume and what they've done, then Dabo Swinney's a top 5 guy in the country. I'd be kicking cats if Auburn had hired Dabo Swinney today.
Is this sort of and I get that they are very different places in life and very different personalities and very different ways of going about their job. But is Lane Kiffin sort of the Rick Barnes of college football, and that your floor and is always up here, but you haven't gotten the things that people, you haven't got the hardware that goes with the reputation that he's got. Now, Rick Barnes, that's different, but you see what I'm asking here? Like, because I'm with you. Like, he's a good coach. He's won a lot of places, but he has never gotten to the mountaintop that you would think that he had gotten to, given the money he gets for doing his job and given the amount of press he gets, given the amount of suitors he gets. There's a disconnect to me. And that doesn't mean he can't at LSU. And you can say, if you're LSU, hey, look, we won with Ed Ogeron and Les Miles, and Lane Kiffin's a better coach than both. But guess what? Those guys coach in a different era than we're in now. We're in an era of parity. Those guys won titles where the rules were different, and you could not compete against LSU in the way that you can now.
This is the only time in the history of the free world that Rick Barnes and Lane Kiffin are going to be used in some sort of similar parallel.
Yes. But you get what I'm saying.
But I do get what you're saying. But like somebody put up their top 5. You can't tell me Steve Sarkisian's better than Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because Sarkisian just did less with more. And look,
Lane Kiffin is a really good coach, but he has not done the things that are going to be expected at LSU. And when he had his best roster last year, where he had an LSU-type roster, They wet the bed.
They did, completely and totally. And here's the real interesting thing. Be real careful what you ask for, because all the goodwill he built up in Oxford, he had. Hold on a second. I got to move around in the light. It's motion activated.
By the way, before you get into that real quickly, I know that Max says, yes, well, of course the top 5 weren't available. I just simply threw that out as a question because I think it is an interesting discussion of where you would place him. Again, and of course, yes, the top 5 coaches were not available for LSU, understood, but I think it's still something to think about with all this stuff that's coming along with it. But like I said, he can go win a national championship next year, and we're going to look back on this and be like, haha, who cares? So
no, LSU fans don't care.
They don't care. Why should they?
No, they don't care if he walked from Oxford.
Yeah.
And they damn sure are tickled at the thought that he's now coming scorched earth, which is going to make him more motivated. It's also he's going to bring whatever assistants want to be on the next page and not have to go look for another job. And there is no telling the defection off that roster when January 2nd comes. Because those dudes love Lane Kiffin.
Depends on who you ask.
In the locker room?
I'll tell you, the guy who's been out ahead of this the whole time is Neil McCready. At the Ole Miss 24/7 sites, he had some very interesting updates this morning. I will not share them. They are premium content, but it is not going over well for at least a big part of the locker room from what I was reading this morning. I'm wondering if you're about to have a situation with Ole Miss where you've got a team that becomes quickly galvanized against its former coach, and it becomes one of these win one despite the guy situations. I don't know. I may be overstating it, but Neil is good. Neil is connected, and man, his updates this morning were fascinating.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're probably going to have more to talk about with Kiffin before we stop this show. Because, again, if the meeting happens in the next 15 minutes, whatever, but wait, we said it was 2, so maybe it won't. We'll probably circle back around to some Kiffin-related stuff. But I'm going to throw a question to the chat before we move on to the next one. And that is, do you think Lane Kiffin wins a national championship at LSU within the next 3 years? There's your poll question in the chat. Do you think he wins a national title in the next 3 years? All right. Chris, any thoughts on that one? On that question?
I'll take no.
The odds are all right.
I'll take yes, unless in 3 years to like the Thanksgiving Day, Kalen DeBoer gets tired of Alabama, and this whole damn cycle will happen again.
Split chat. A lot of yeses, a lot of nos. We will find out. So, all right, we'll have some more on Kiffin here. Again, I know everyone wants to talk about the Lane train right now. Taking his record currently stands at Ole Miss. He was 55-19. As we said, the Rebels heading to the college football playoff. Sounds like Pete Golden's going to lead them there, and we'll see what their draw is coming up here next week. But, all right, next up in this wild world of sports here. Let's go to this one, and we're going to give the nod to the super chat. And by the way, folks, we have over 1,300 people in the chat right now. If you want to make sure we get to your comment today, it's going to probably be a super chat because otherwise I'm just going to grab them as I see them. There's no way we can get to all of them. But since our guy Donovan went with the $1.99 super chat, the streak continues here at Southeast from 16, saying that he thinks Alex Golesh is going to be a better coach than Lane Kiffin. So we will go next to Auburn. And, of course, we did a stream. When was this? I don't remember what day it was.
Wednesday.
Alex Golesh reportedly heading to Arkansas. And I think I said 5 times during that stream, not been confirmed, not been confirmed, not been confirmed, not been confirmed, not been confirmed. And what do you know? It seems like at least part of the way this thing played out, whether that was going to happen or not, who knows? We know that there were the reports out there that Golesh's side was pissed that got out there before he wanted to, and how did that affect the initial, the offer there? How did it affect him choosing Auburn? All these things, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But, Jay, Alex Golesh is the choice for the Tigers.
I think, look, I don't like to use the phrase home run hire because there's been so many that either have drifted foul or ended up being infield flies. I think Alex Golesh is the best possible scenario for Auburn where they currently were. After the flirtations with the risk, a very similar risk to what Hugh Freeze was with Jon Sumrall, after the questions looming over DJ Durkin. I hope DJ Durkin's still part of the program at Auburn, because look, he's the highest paid coordinator in the country on the last time I saw those lists. But Alex Golesh learned offense from a guy who's a true innovator. Alex Golesh translated that to South Florida against a schedule that was probably harder than what Ole Miss played. I don't know if any of us can project if he's going to be a better coach than Kiffin. But this is an absolute. As an Auburn fan, I was getting up expecting the worst because they have conditioned us to do that. It's Pavlovian. And Chris, to your point, I was in church and this news started happening, and I'm over there fist pumping. And I'm certain Pastor Dave looking down from
this guy really loves Jesus.
Dude, Greason's got Tourette's. What the hell's going on?
Maybe that's what Kiffin saw whenever he started his decision process.
She's going, who gives a damn? Pay attention. We're talking about the Good Samaritan here. So, look, and that's a conversation for the next take there, Anthony, because that's a good one. But
yeah,
I think this is. If you'd told me Alex Golesh a month ago and just closed the book, I'd have been doing cartwheels then. And I'm now, with all the fret and fear hanging on the horizon and everybody and the music stopping and every program trying to grab a seat, this may be John Cohen's finest moment.
Yeah, hats off to John Cohen for doing this. Was Golesh even in the conversation at Auburn until this morning publicly?
I've been saying his name every time any one of you yahoos give me the opportunity.
Right, but was that wishful thinking, or was that like?
I mean, it would have made sense.
Auburn fans have, Chris, is wishful thinking.
Well, it was amounted to a little bit more than that this morning. Just going to note that.
Look, if you would have picked the pool of candidates, he would have been in there. If you would have said there was going to be a big SEC domino effect, you would have put Alex Golesh in there, which is why it would have made all the sense in the world with Arkansas. But it's just that what happened after that led to this. And, someone had put the point in there too about, the textbook Jimmy Sexton move. Jimmy Sexton's been moving more this past week. All these different things. You can go back and trace the steps and be like, oh, yeah, well, that's why they did that. That's why this happened. There you go, Chris. And just quickly, Chris, before you give your thoughts, I want to just give you the details for those who didn't see it. Ross Dellinger reported deal 6 years, average $7.4 million annually at Auburn. Says the deal with the Tigers built with heavy incentives, including bonus money for each win after 8. A 12-win season, for instance, could put him at more than $12 million in compensation.
This moment's getting brighter for John Cohen as we go. I mean, if you can be the AD that redirects the narrative of incentive-laden contracts for your coaches to where it lowers your guaranteed risk at the end, if it breaks bad. But dude, a 12-win season in Auburn would mean that the souvenir stands would pony up the extra 5. I mean, because you're going to make so much money in the town it's a Sunday at 1:57 Eastern, and there's not a soul in this newsroom currently. And I'm looking for somebody to hug. As an Auburn graduate, it's how good I feel.
Happy for you, Jay Greeson, first of all.
Everybody in the chat, give a hug emoji for Jay. If you want to give Jay a hug right now, leave a hug emoji in the chat. Let's see. Let's see who actually wants to hug Jay Greeson. That is our test in the chat. You have to put a hug emoji. That's the rule here. So,
all right. Jay, I'm going to ask you this. You do this last year. You give Alex Golesh that quarterback room. You give him Malcolm Simmons, Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, Jeremiah Crawford. What is Auburn's record with Alex Golesh coaching the entire year at Auburn this year?
And I get the same defense that played out.
Of course. I mean, unless there's a reason to think those guys would leave under Alex Golesh, but I don't know what that would be.
It's 10 wins minimum because it's really, I mean, wow. I mean, they lost what? 6 one-score games?
Something like that.
And the vast majority of them, they didn't score more than 24 points. And Alex Golesh has South Florida. They played Boise State, Florida when we thought Florida was good, Miami, and a whole lot of and tried to punt above its weight class. And he's got them top 5 in yards and top 5 in points per game without Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton. And I got to believe that he's got an IQ over 46, which means he would have seen early on that Jackson Arnold was not the answer, or you're asking the wrong damn question. So it is, I think Auburn, Chris, you and I have said it for the last 6 weeks on our power rankings. Auburn has wasted a playoff roster.
Yep.
With coaching malpractice.
Yeah. That's one of your better all-time lines there, Jay. That one got me.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at it, their schedule, all right? Lose by 7 to Oklahoma. I know I'm revisiting a bunch of wounds here, but again, we're going to play this for fun, which wasn't so fun at the time. Lost by touchdown to Oklahoma, 6 to Texas A&M, double overtime to Missouri, 7 to Kentucky, overtime to Vanderbilt, 7 to Alabama. I mean, yeah. Talk about how a guy can make the difference, and that's what they're hoping for.
Okay. I will say on those games, I'll give Oklahoma all its flowers because that's a tough place to play. And Steve Spurrier, at the height of his powers, may have only scored 17 points playing against that Sooners defense in Norman. You can't blame the Vandy loss on the offense.
No.
So everything else is in play.
All right. So if you want, again, some of Golesh's numbers, average more than 35 points per game and 450 yards per game during his time was that's nice to hear. I think, what was it this year? USF offense, number 2 nationally in total offense, 501.7 yards per game, number 5 in scoring, 43 points per game. Posted 500-plus yards in 8 of its last 9 regular season games. Yeah, I mean, and it also, like in the Auburn release, notes that top 2 passing seasons in program history with Byron Brown, 23-25. So, yeah, I mean, that just...
And I think you left the most important number out because we talk about in grading coaches, what did you inherit? USF was 1-11 the year before Alex Golesh got there. 1-11 and had won
2-12 the year before that, I believe.
They had won 4 games in the 3 previous seasons.
All right.
I've got a question for you. Sure, go ahead.
Just real quick, and we're not going to go down this road. We're going to save it for later. But Anthony dropped it here. I just want to quickly note, yes, I just saw the tweet that Ole Miss requiring players to turn in their phones heading into this team meeting. So there's an update. No leaks in this team meeting.
Which means this can go a multitude of ways. Like he walks in there and he goes, and he does the Wolf of Wall Street, and he's about to retire, and he goes, "Bleep it, I'm staying." Oh. I mean, this is 100%. That's 100% the table now.
Yeah, it's a possibility now. So, oh boy. All right, Chris, you were going to ask a question. Sorry, back to Golesh.
Well, okay. I'm just going to throw this out there. Byron Brown played 4 games as a freshman at South Florida in 2022, meaning he gets a red shirt for that. This year, Byron Brown threw for 3,158 yards, and he ran for over 1,000? Let me find that. He ran for 1,008 and 14 scores. Very curious to see, does he come with Alex Golesh? But okay, then what do you do with Deuce Knight?
Yes.
And what do you do with Ashton Daniels, who just didn't play a game to take a red shirt?
You tell Ashton Daniels thank you and move on. If Deuce Knight wants to stay, then duke it out. But if a guy who just went 3,300 plus, 1,000 plus wants to come play quarterback for you, you pack his damn bags is what you do.
Yeah, I feel bad for our man Phil. He's feeling
poor Phil.
today.
He's like, can we please stop talking about this? Noted Arkansas fan Phil's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna get to yours in a second, Phil. But yeah, I'm with Jay. Pack his bag, but he's got to turn his phone in first. But then he can come to the
let him
plane.
keep the phone. Videotape the coach packing your damn luggage. This is how much coach loves me. He's packing my Samsonite.
Oh boy. All right. Anything else we want to add on Golesh? We'll turn it to the chat. Grade the hire, chat, except for Phil. I know what Phil's going to give this hire.
And he's going to give
grade
it
the
an
hire.
F, but it may not be just ending at F. It may have
I think
3
that
letters
F is headed to somebody else on that. So, all right. Okay. So I think we're all in agreement. I think Golesh is going to do very well at Auburn. So, all right. Let's go to the next one. And I think it's Phil's turn. All right. Before we get there, we do have a couple of super chats I forgot to get to. $5 from 9-time champion. There's a Tiger Walk tomorrow for Golesh and his family to walk into Jordan Hare for the introductory press conference. Amazing.
Everybody coming here for the real thing. Everybody coming here for
another hug. Another hug here. And by the way, 9-time champion wants to know if Golesh will attend the annual golf fundraiser as well.
I bet he sold his clubs. And if Cohen didn't put that in the contract, 2 things in the contract. You only have one play caller. And even if it's you, great. If it's somebody else, great. You got one damn play call. And the other one is nobody plays golf here anymore.
I can think of a few other things, but based on past situations, but we won't go there.
Florida. I mean, but never mind.
All right. Before we get to Arkansas quickly, let's tell you about some fine jewelry. Some of you have landed some gems today. Some of you feel like you have not landed some gems. But with an Asheville-based fine jewelry company, the Yearly Company, all kinds of fine natural gemstones over there. Solid 14-karat gold, backed by a lifetime guarantee. These contracts are not lifetime guarantees, folks, on this money you're shelling out for these coaches. But the Yearly Company, remember, check them out over there. Lots of great stuff. Get your holiday shopping in early. Every bangle they have, custom size. You got to know the size. And you get 100% off the size and kit at checkout. Use our code SC16KIT. Over the Yearly Company, SC16KIT. Get some of that holiday shopping in early. Buy some fine jewelry over there with our friends at the Yearly Co. All right, Rockform, ROKFORM.com. Some of you have been out there throwing your phone case today at your coaching hire. Some of you have your phone case well secured because you've been texting all your friends in jubilation at your hire. Check them out, ROKFORM.com. Rockform, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, Rock Lock, secure mounting. Use our code for 25% off, SEC25, 25% off over at Rockform. All right, here we go. Arkansas. Up next. Don't worry, Florida, we're going to get to you. And by the way, we also have a super chat we will get back to from James. $1.99. Josh Heupel is now the betting favorite for the Penn State job. Don't worry, we will cover that here in just a few minutes. Let's get to the ones we know so far. And yes, Arkansas makes Ryan Silverfield the hire, Chris Lee. I'll be honest, I can't say I'm surprised by this, other than the fact that we had a stream 3 days ago. It's going to be another coach. But if you were to say who was in the pool of coaches that could have been a likely choice based on things you were hearing, he was one of the very first initial names. Maybe Jay and I that did that stream after Pittman got fired. And like, I think we just said, hey, I mean, if you're going to just put a short list together, he's probably on there. Now, at the time, I don't remember what Memphis's record was, but I know they had, what was it? I'm trying to remember exactly what the time frame was. But I think, again, it started there as, okay, he could be on the list. Then it went to Kane Womack. Then we talked about all the other possibilities. Was it going to be Alex Golesh? Thought that was done. Wasn't. And now we're sitting here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, an hour after Arkansas fans online organized a protest for this hire, and I think about 25 people showed up based on what I've seen on Twitter. There may be more there by now. Chris, thoughts on Ryan Silverfield being the choice at Arkansas?
Don't know what to think about it. I mean, he's been really good at Memphis. Feels like he's had Memphis as probably a top 5 group of 5 program since he's been there. Beat Arkansas with the big break earlier. Saw that one. But, I mean, the floor there has been fairly good. What does that look like in the SEC? No idea. I mean, I'm not going to say this one came out of the blue because it didn't. But I just have not had, I don't know. I mean, he went 10-3 last year, or 11-2 last year, 10-3 the year before. He's had Memphis on an upward trajectory. Couldn't quite finish it off this year. I guess that's why I'm just a little bit hesitant. Memphis had kind of everything in front of it to get to the playoff, and then just kind of fumbled the season away. I like the Golesh hire better, but I'm not convinced this is a bad one either.
How much do you guys think his predecessor's failings in Tallahassee kind of potentially taint this hire?
Was that also not a topic at Florida, by the way? I mean, Brian brought that up, that, the group of 5 guys, that hasn't exactly been a winning bet lately. Who's the last group of 5 guy to go somewhere and set the world on fire at a bigger school? I'm sure there's somebody, but it's not coming to me immediately. I mean, Brian Harsin bombed at Auburn.
It's been a hot minute.
Napier bombed at Florida.
Utah was not Pac-12 when Urban was there, and he went to Florida and crushed. You'd have to say what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame. He came from one of the directional Michigans, right?
He started at Central Michigan. He was at Cincinnati before that, wasn't he?
Oh, Signetti.
Oh, duh. Well, that was teed up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a great opinion on it.
That's not good, though.
I know.
I think that's
but
the
who had a great opinion on Kurt Signetti?
Well, I mean, true, but I think I'm not. Yes, and I think you could use that for any argument you wanted now, right? Well, look what he did at Indiana. We could say that about anybody, and sure, it's possible.
But hey, I asked about the Norvell prism. I think a more accurate prism question is, how much does this feel like a step back and Golesh taking Auburn instead of what everybody believed was you were going to get Golesh in a top 5 offense and a dynamic quarterback potentially coming with him to replace Taylor Green. Now, this could be a super fine hire. I mean, there are a whole lot of people who've been married 50 years who got married to the second woman they proposed to, and they had wonderful lives. But the dominoes falling in this order make this a tough day for Phil and a whole lot of very passionate pig callers.
I mean, here's the thing, all right? So if the Golesh news doesn't get out, I think this is still, for many Arkansas fans, an underwhelming hire. But the fact that the Golesh rumor got out and you thought you had a guy that was seen as like potentially off like next big thing, offensive guru. Wow. And I think we even said that the other day. We're like, wow, I didn't think I was surprised that Arkansas was going to get Alex Golesh, because I was like, I don't know if that was the expectation. And then from there, you now have a coach who, again, we mentioned him initially when Pittman got fired, but that was at a different time, guys. I mean, look at what's happened. They've lost 3 games in a row to end the season. 38-32 to Tulane. At Eastern Carolina, lost 31-27, lose 28-17 to Navy. And it's like, if you hired him after last year, where he's got back-to-back 10-plus win seasons, they went 10-3 in 23, 11-2 last year in 24, won a bowl game, but like 8-4, and all of a sudden, I think it feels very underwhelming.
Here's another issue. What was Arkansas known for the last couple of years? I would say scoring a lot of points and giving up a lot of points.
Sure.
They just hired a guy that was doing that at a G5 level. That doesn't mean that's how it works out. I'm just saying, all the talk of, hey, we're maybe going to go defense. I mean, frankly, I would have gone Kane Womack, I think, before Silverfield. But I don't know. I mean, on the other hand, they've not been bad since he's been there. Memphis football has been very bad before. Ryan Silverfield has gotten him to a place where they've been really good. But you can also say the same thing about Mike Norvell, and we know how that went at Florida State.
I mean, they finished 6th in the American. I know it's one season, and I know he had back-to-back good seasons, but I'm just curious where was he at on their list? That's what we'll maybe never know, but I'm curious what number.
That feels like oh shoot, the dominoes are falling and we'd better grab someone higher.
Yeah, like that's what I think Arkansas fans may question. Like, was this just a panic hire where we thought we had Golesh, and then all of a sudden we looked up and said, uh-oh, did we just panic and have to make the hire, and here you go? Because Kane Womack's out, or what? We don't know what the order was, but just curious.
The other thing, if you're within that building, and I don't see any possible way you could make the hire, but Bobby Petrino still had a lot of supporters, and as people were pulling names out, and a whole lot of his supporters, and I've been on record for months saying it would be an absolute disaster to bring Petrino back. But if guy X, guy Y, guy Z keeps saying thanks but no, look, we had somebody very early in the chat, I think it was Sam, say Memphis, who about to name Jerry Mack from Kennesaw State, Memphis may have upgraded today.
Oh, he's done a tremendous job at Kennesaw State. Yeah. And hey, Sven brings up a great point. Charles Huff, I mean, look what he did at Marshall. Look what he did year 1 in Southern Miss. Yeah, I mean, if you're going that route, I might rather have some of those guys.
I don't know. I just look, Silverfield is 45. I mean, if you look again at his history, guy that was in the NFL as a position coach, what was it? Memphis, took over Memphis he was there several years before, position coach as well. Took over 2019 season, or what was it? I think he was the interim, right? Is that right? When trying to remember how it all fell timeline wise, but I mean, after that, 8-3 first season, 6-6, 7-6, 10-3, 11-2, and now 8-4. I just think, yeah, it's a momentum thing too, where his team lost 3 straight games to end the season, finished 6th in that league. Like I said, I think you have a little bit of a different sentiment if they hire him after last season. If they'd have fired Pittman after last season, made the hire, I think you'd have a little bit more optimism, probably if you're an Arkansas fan, but I understand why some Arkansas fans would be very underwhelmed based on looking around, and also the combination, like I said, of thinking Alex Golesh was going to be your head coach, and he's not. And now he's at Auburn, where they may whip up on you for the next however many seasons, and you look back and are like, well, here we go again. So,
well, I mean, is this not the thing we've been saying? Like when all the bodies are seated in chairs, you're bound to have several people disappointed. Yeah, but somebody brings up Bob Chesney too.
That's Kenny's dad, right?
Yeah, that's exactly who that is, Jay Greeson. James Madison coach, all kidding aside.
Someone mentioned Charles Huff, by the way.
Yeah, we just talked about Charles Huff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, I don't know, I wonder if that too is kind of a record thing.
Sam says Bob Chesney is going to UCLA, which will be a great hire.
All right. Anything else on Arkansas before we continue on?
I have a question. How much longer is Hunter Yurchek in that job?
I think the backlash is, and again, look, online, I always say, guys, let's keep in mind, online is online. But it's not just, I think there's going to be a lot of prove it with this hire, I feel like, and that's where, again, when we talk about resources and all that and what you put into it, NIL, rosters and everything, I think, we're going to find out. And if people are weighing in on Hunter Yurchek's job, Eli's got about 6 hours on that, 6 or 7 months, a little bit longer on this one. But, yes, I think that one's getting interesting for sure. All right, let's go next to Florida. And before we do, a little reset here. Remember, guys, there's a lot of you in here. These are easily, since last night, two of our biggest shows we've done all year long. Not surprising, given the topics and the future of your football programs. And yes, I did just type B into the chat and hit enter. That means absolutely nothing. That's not a code word for anything. But you can become a member here at Southeastern 16, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat to do that. Remember, lots of bonus content. If you want to support our coverage, help us do more of these live streams, you can sign up for as little as $3.99 a month. That is our supporter tier. Support the channel. It's a nice donation saying, hey, thanks for what you do. And we have hundreds of you who already have done that, and we do appreciate it. If you want to sign up for one of the additional membership tiers, whether that's an MVP, Legends tier, you get bonus content every week as well. Also have an opportunity to hop on a show with us at the highest tier if you would like to do that. So, yes, check it out right there, linked below. You can hit the join button. And remember, Super Chat's also the best way to support the channel. So leave us a nice Super Chat. We'll get to your question, comment, or anything like that to do that on. Before we move on from Arkansas, Arthur said, come on, Blake, why didn't we do a reaction after the Duke game the other night? Acuff is a beast. Yes, he is, Arthur. A lot of us were traveling this week. We just didn't get a chance to do our basketball stream after that, but SEC basketball power rankings tomorrow. So, all right, Jon Sumrall is headed to Florida, gentlemen. And this is one that I don't think was that big of a surprise based on how things were starting to fall. It did sound like there were some reports out there, Chris. I don't know what all you've seen on this, but I don't know if Ole Miss made a big swing to try once they knew Kiffin was leaving. I think that's something that maybe we'll find out a little bit more on that. But we did know as of last night, I know you guys talked about it a little bit on the late show. Tulane was trying to offer a package to match Florida. We just, I think, really understood that was not going to happen. So, yes, sounds like announcement being set up there for Jon Sumrall. Let me see if I have the details here on the contract. I think we have that. Pete Thamel has it as a 6-year deal, around $7.5 million per year. Significant incentives tied to the college football playoff. And yes, Sumrall comes in 42-11 as a head coach.
Feels to me like a good hire. Also, I think this is one reason that Ole Miss is beyond pissed at Lane Kiffin too, because I think Ole Miss would have been in line for that one. I think he would have been a terrific hire for whoever. Having an adult in the room, which I think is what Jon Sumrall seems to be, underrated quantity. So let's start there. I feel like Florida made out pretty well in that one. I will say this, though. Jon Sumrall spent, 4 years at Group of Five, went 42-11 as a head coach. 23-4 at Troy, 19-7 at Tulane. Guess who spent 4 years prior to coming to Florida at a Group of 4 school and went 40-12? That's Billy Napier, the guy that they just hired. Now, look, that does not make Jon Sumrall bound to fail the way Billy Napier did. I'm just pointing out everybody loved Napier at the time, felt like a good hire. The industry respected it. Napier brought everything that Florida needed at the time, which included discipline. Just didn't work out. Point being here, I think this is a good hire. Feels like a place I would have gone, but you just never know.
Speaking for all the non-adults that in every room that I enter, I will say this guy was coveted by a lot of places. I thought for a long time, I thought he was going to be the next coach at Auburn. I also think you were right in that it felt like whichever of the two, LSU or Florida, didn't get Kiffin, he was going to be coveted there too. And at least in this cycle, as a fan base, you can convince yourself, well, at least we're going to the prom with a hot girl that everybody else wanted to take to the prom. No, I mean, nobody's saying he's the debate about Lane Kiffin being top 5, top 10 coach. Where is he ranked nationally? Nobody's going to put Sumrall in that. But he's been a head coach. He's run a program. He's won consistently. It was a bad situation where, look, Florida should be, I'm not saying they should be as ticked off as Ole Miss at Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin clearly used Florida. Clearly. And, hey, that's part of the game. So I'm a bigger fan of Sumrall than most, but Florida needed splash. The last thing they wanted was smart guys like Chris Lee saying he's very comparable to Billy Napier, except he didn't spend time on Nick Saban's staff.
You know, that's a weird thing about Florida. Florida seems to have gone this group of 5 type route most of its last hires, has it not? I mean, it did. Jim McElvain was where? Central Michigan. Napier was Louisiana. Well, Mullen was Mississippi State. So, I mean, I guess it's a mixed bag. But Florida, by the way, been through an awful lot of football coaches the last 15 years.
Where would you rank the Florida job now in comparison to some of the other top jobs?
Top jobs open or top jobs?
Just in the SEC, if you had to rank them.
I mean, I know the brand has been damaged. It still feels like it's got to be a top 5 job in the league, but at the same time, you keep getting more often than not coaches that fail there. I was going to say Dan Mullen failed. Maybe in retrospect, Dan Mullen didn't fail at Florida, but I mean, it didn't. I mean, and even Jim McElvain, like they won 8 or 9 games. It didn't go as badly as it did for Napier. Now the schedules were different. That's part of it. But I mean, you still got a recruiting base. You've got history winning natties.
Ooh,
you got a lot of stuff. What are you looking at, Jay?
25.
I was going to say, I knew Jay was seeing the same thing I did. So, I mean,
maybe.
What do you think about that? Florida officially the Nebraska of the SEC now, according to Who Dat Fam.
I'll tell you a couple things that have to be added to perspective. Florida pre-Spurrier was a whipping post.
Yes. That's what I was going to bring up. The 2 coaches that have done well at Florida are both Hall of Fame coaches. And everybody else has just kind of been okay.
I still think it because of passion, because of location, because of a whole lot of things at their disposal, that it's a top half of the league job. And that's not meant as an insult. This is an unbelievably competitive league, more competitive than it's ever been. And with Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M raising everybody's NIL profile, or or you're not going to be competitive if you're not matching their NIL profile. But I think Florida's a top half of the league job. I really do. And
yeah, I do too. Let me let you finish your thought, and then I've got a question for you guys. Jay?
Okay. No, go ahead. Hit me with a question.
Well, okay, let's blow it up for a minute, okay? Let's take every SEC coach, clear the deck. All 16 teams have got a vacancy today. The most attractive job is what? I'm thinking probably 3 schools, but then there's some nuttiness at a couple of those. I want to see if you guys are thinking the same 3 that I'm. Well, I don't know. I mean, I say that. Maybe it's more like a list of 5.
I'll stay with 3: Texas, Georgia, Alabama.
Well, see, and now we haven't even named LSU.
No, but I don't think
it's the top job in the country.
It's a top open job in the country. Big difference.
I mean, my mind goes first to Georgia, Texas is the first 2, and a lot of that's talent base and recent history. More so with Georgia. Talent base, Florida's got to be in that conversation. LSU's got to be in that conversation. Blake, who am I forgetting? Because Sam's kind of reading my mind on this.
A&M's a great
A&M. And how good? Let me ask, how good a job is Alabama? I know the history, but with Alabama, it's. I mean, I know, of course, it's a good job, but like, is it still the best job? Because again, Alabama's got a little bit of an issue. Well, that's not entirely true. Bill Curry won there. Bill Curry's not a Hall of Famer. I think Saban was there so long and distorted that so much, it's just hard for me to make sense of at times.
To be fair, though, the Hall of Fame designation is a little bit skewed because you have to win a natty as a coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and this is a good point too. Texas is always one of those attractive jobs, but Texas is one of those places that just seems to get in its own way for whatever reason. Like the results have not matched the hype. I mean, at least at LSU, you've gotten that with one, in my opinion, bad coach in Ogeron, and a weirdly effective one in Les Miles. So,
if you asked SEC coaches what the best job is in the SEC right now, what do you think they would say?
I'm going to steal a line from somebody in the chat, Kentucky, because you can win 4 games and make $10 million a year.
Well,
so I was going to go to the 2 extremes. I was going to say you can either go to that extreme, or the coach could say, well, who's going to offer me the most money to build my roster? And that's the best job in the SEC. And I think that's honestly the case right now, because I think we're splitting hairs when it comes to like trying to position this has to be 1, this has to be 2. I think you can, like you said, Jay, I mean, where I was going to go with it is the addition of Texas and Oklahoma has certainly, like, if you went from being number 5 on the list to number 7, that's not a big drop off when you consider you've added Texas or Oklahoma and like the way the league has changed over the past couple of years. So it's like, I think most coaches just say, give me the most money to build my roster. Who's going to give me the most support NIL wise? And there's my answer. So,
which by all measures means both the Texas schools.
They're going to be up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I want to say your answer is either Georgia or LSU. For LSU, it's like you got to have the medicine on hand or the tranquilizer gun to, give somebody a little dose when it gets a little crazy, because LSU, when it goes well, it's as good as it is anywhere. But when it goes badly, man, they just go completely nuts and it implodes on itself.
Look, man, I understand the argument, and Blake said it way more succinctly than I did, which is true about just about any thought that randomly pops into my head. Because the kids you're trying to come help you win games and elevate your stature as a coach and your program as a whole, they don't give 2 damns that Alabama won back-to-back championships when I was in elementary school. I mean, no, it's what can you pay me and how quickly can you get me to the league and can we win along the way? And if you check those boxes, then maybe that makes you a top 3 job. And I'll say this, growing up in the state, is Georgia a top 2 or 3 job, or is it because they've got the top coach in America?
Well, I think I've got an answer for you.
Job, or does the man doing the job make? I mean, now Mark Richt won 10 games a year, but it wasn't good enough. And
well, see, that's my point. Mark Richt didn't get hired anywhere after Georgia, right? I mean, he went 10 and 3, 11 and 2 like clockwork. See, that's the thing about Georgia. Georgia's not hit a bottom like a Florida hit this year in a long, long time.
All right, back to Florida real quick. So what was the quote out there? And this is what Florida fans will love from Sumrall. Quote, one of my first priorities will be to assemble an incredible staff, including an offensive coordinator who understands that at Florida, having an explosive offense isn't optional, it's mandatory. I'm ready to run through a brick wall for this guy if I'm a Florida fan. Give me an offense in Gainesville. Curious to see who he hires. So,
correction.
That's been the knock on
Richt at Miami. So thank you for the correction there.
Blake, if I can cross the streams, even though Bill Murray told us not to, how much longer until Scott Strickland hiring Todd Golden runs out of steam? Because there's a lot of chaos going on in Gainesville.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how they do this year.
You've had scandals with 2 coaches, and the one that was normal just got fired.
All right, chat. Grade the hire. Jon Sumrall to Florida. I've seen a lot of people trying to compare him to Billy Napier. Let us know what you think about that. But yes, like we mentioned this the other day too in one of the streams. They all run together, but like, whenever we talk about these coaches, like obviously the head coach is the head coach, but like you got to have your money to assemble a great staff, and you got to get a lot of these rights. That is as important as anything. So Sam's going to give it a B- for Jon Sumrall. Yeah, I mean we'll never get the list, but I'd love to know who else was other than Kiffin. You know, who was Florida's maybe top 3 choices initially, and where did we get on the list to that point? So, I don't know. All right. We have reached the 1 hour mark, and there are still 1,700 of you watching this thing right now. Yeah, and we're far from done on some of this. Shout out to Playtime is Done, by the way, new member here at the channel. We appreciate that. Appreciate your support of what we do, and because of that, I'm going to pull up this comment you had right after. Andrew Ellis on Inside Arkansas was spot on with his comment. The reason Sam Pittman got fired is because he lost the Silverfield's Memphis team, and now we're going to replace you with that guy. It's one way to look at it. So, that is one way to look at it. So, all right, update on Lane Kiffin. Shocker, I know. Trey Wallace, our guy's out there tracking planes right now. And so let's give you the plane tracker update. On where things are headed. Per Trey on Twitter 10 minutes ago, there are 2 planes headed to Tupelo Airport from Baton Rouge to pick up Lane Kiffin and his family, along with others traveling with him. How many coaches are going to be on there? Is it going to be one of those where all of a sudden they just pull up and you see, oh, there's that guy. His head's peeking out the back. He's over there in the bathroom, but that's the only place they could put him on this plane. Not taking off yet. Scheduled too soon. So there you go. Plane tracking in full effect. Apparently the meeting is over at Ole Miss. Let's see, there was another note here. Where was it? Apparently, we didn't mention this earlier too, but it says Pete Golding also expected to be in the mix as the candidate to replace Kiffin as the head coach, possibly permanently. So, don't know how that ends, but again, Ole Miss is in a fascinating spot here. Well,
it's Matt Luke 2.0.
Well, okay. I knew you had incident on theirs, but yeah. So that's where we stand. I mean, we didn't really explore this earlier. I mean, kind of, Chris, you mentioned a little bit, and we'll get to Heupel after this. All right, I promise, guys. But if you are Ole Miss, where do you go from here? Like, who's your first call of, let's say, of the Realistic available candidates. Chat, you can weigh in on this too. Who's your first call if you're Ole Miss?
Your first call.
I've seen people suggesting Dan Mullen.
Do I blow everybody's doors off right here? What if they brought Dan Mullen?
That's what I have seen people suggesting this.
Who's done
and to
well
be
at
honest
UNLV.
with you, I don't think it's the worst idea ever. You're in a tough spot if you're. I mean, you really are. And I'm not saying that they're not going to dish out the money and all this other stuff, but like we said, I mean, you're in a tough spot based on these dominoes falling the way they have. So I don't know.
I think Kane Womack is on the list at least with his history there. I don't know if that's your guy, but see, that's where I'm just stumped with them because, and this is why they were trying to get out in front of the Lane Kiffin thing to avoid the situation now that they're in now. Brett does not like the idea of Kane Womack going to Ole Miss for reasons I can understand. Is Brett is an Alabama fan, but
see, all right, how big of an upset is that somebody in the chat told Chris to calm down and not me to calm down?
That's true. Well, if Auburn hadn't have hired Alex Golesh, they may have had you calm down today. They'd have went out and hired someone else. May have been having to calm you down.
Unmitigated disaster.
Yeah.
It would have been DJ Durkin. It would have been DJ Durkin.
All right, let's circle back to some of the names. Like we said, Charles Huff might be a guy that you give a call to if you're somewhere else. Hey, here's one. Willie Fritz.
I make Glenn Schumann, Georgia's defensive coordinator, say no.
Okay.
Seen him mentioned in the chat. I mean, people are throwing out Dillingham. They're throwing out Cliff Kingsbury.
Dillingham would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, right? We always say when you change coaches, you flip. You go from the offensive guy to the defensive guy, but this is such a different scenario where you're not firing your coach. He's leaving for another job, and he's leaving on top. And I don't know that you want to just say, all right, we're going to get the opposite of Lane Kiffin, because Lane Kiffin is pretty good. So Lincoln Riley, I know, what a hot name. There's another name that got thrown out about the Florida job yesterday. There were rumors circulating that they were trying to have contact there. Jed Fish was another one.
Fish.
Yeah.
Fish has got Arizona, what, at 9-3?
Land Shark, you knew what you were doing. We were waiting on that. Hire Hugh Freeze.
Didn't Fish at Washington?
Yeah. Sorry. He was at Arizona before that. Washington finished what, 8-4?
Sounds right.
And Fish was. I'm surprised he wasn't more in the discussion at Florida, or maybe he was.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up Jason Candle at Toledo. That guy wins every year. The MAC is horrible, but Tim Beck's name has come up a couple of times. I don't know what kind of head coach Tim Beck would be, but man, is there a better offensive coordinator than Tim Beck right now at Vanderbilt?
And we can talk about this tomorrow when we do power rankings or whatever we're all doing tomorrow with only one SEC game. I say this with nothing but the utmost admiration and the belief that Vandy should possibly be a playoff team. Everybody in that program's got to show me what they can do without Diego Pavia pulling the strings. And they win 8 or 9 games next year without Diego, unless he sues and he's going to go straight from his 8th grad degree at Vandy to AARP, then okay. But, I mean, Malzahn got a ton of flowers because he was calling plays for Cam Newton. It makes it a little bit easier.
Well, but Beck also the guy that developed Diego Pavia. So let's not forget that.
We've got to vote for Jimmy McGinty.
I like that.
I would go honestly, Coach Eric Taylor from Friday Night Lights before I would go McGinney. I'd give the high school guy a shot, and then you also get to see Tammy Taylor on a daily basis, which is a good thing.
I think with Ole Miss, man, it's like, I don't know if you can go out and just grab like, hey, here comes the up and coming guy to replace Lane Kiffin. But you also, I wonder, like from a personality standpoint. I mean, there's not many out there like Lane Kiffin exactly, but do you just go the complete opposite on personality too? I don't know. Like I think they're in a fascinating spot, obviously for many reasons, but I guess that's the thing too. Is like the timing for Ole Miss. Like when do you make the hire? Based on it's just I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. So
Matt Campbell's name mentioned in the chat. That's another good one.
I'll find some odds. I'm sure there's some odds out there somewhere. All right.
I've heard good things about those FanDuel folks.
Well, I bet they got something over there on some odds. I have no doubt. When it comes to our friends over at FanDuel, let's talk about the Josh Heupel thing. This thing, I mean, it's just what a day. So Josh Heupel is the betting favorite, I guess. I don't even know if you would call it a betting favorite, but there had been the banter about, could this be a possibility? Obviously, the way things unfolded yesterday, not so great. Finished it for Tennessee to the season, 45-24 loss to Vanderbilt. But this has been one that's been bantered about for a bit, Chris. And what is it, the place that does all the odds or whatever and the percentages had Josh Heupel at the top as, who was it? James said earlier with the super chat. I mean,
I believe it's Kalshi, isn't it Kalshi or however it's pronounced?
Yeah, it starts with a K, yeah, instead of Kalshi. Yeah, I think that's how it is. But, I mean, what do we think?
Sorry, I got distracted by something in the comment. Some potential breaking news at Ole Miss. I don't know if that's real or...
What are you talking about? Where?
Someone just dropped in the chat that Pete Golding has been named permanent head coach at Ole Miss. Like, I cannot type fast enough right now.
All right, we'll get back to that in a second. Let's talk about Heupel and Penn State for a minute, and then we'll get back to that.
Look, Tennessee football is the biggest beat in the state I live in. Forever, when I was a sports editor for 15 years, we had somebody living in Knoxville primarily to cover Tennessee football. It's that important to everybody from Jackson East. Oh my God, the Lane Kiffin news is blowing up. But if there are a lot of ticked off people about the way this season unfolded and the second half tail whipping Vandy just delivered. And look, Vandy's a better football team this year. But Tennessee fans never, ever, ever, ever not only don't want to hear that. It's impossible for them to accept. No matter who's the quarterback, no matter how good Clark Lee may be, it is what it is. And there are a lot of disgruntled folks. Look, I think if Tennessee was even inching toward this, I hope John Cohen's already gotten Alex Golesh to sign the contract, because who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
But the number Trey put out there that said the Penn State 247 site, I don't know if you can find it, Blake, in the chat or not.
I'll find it. Yeah.
But Trey put it out there, and then it's got like multiple hundreds of pages, and
I think it was 5.7 million
views. There's too much conversation going on. And look, if you're a Tennessee diehard, you want Josh Heupel to return. He's been that good. But it's going to have to be returning without Tim Banks.
See, the what have you done lately in Knoxville for Heupel and Banks? I don't get it. Okay, Heupel, everybody knows what happened in their offseason. You lost your quarterback. You had to reboot. I think he did a great job with Joey Aguilar. Did not have the window that other programs did to get your guy. Made the best of it. Tennessee ended up scoring over 40 points a game. Banks was doing a terrific job when Tim Banks had talent. They lost an edge guy to the NFL. They lost a first-round corner before the season ever started, never took a snap, and then lost their number 2 corner. Most teams, I don't care who you are, you take Georgia's top 2 corners away, they are going to struggle. You take anybody's quarterback away in the offseason, make you start over in June or whenever it was, May. A lot of teams are going to struggle. I think this recency thing with Josh Heupel and Tim Banks to me is just kind of crazy. Just me. I'm a little slower to move on from guys than most people, but to me, that's a be careful what you wish for, because you saw what happened from Tennessee from the time it went bad under Phil Fulmer to the next succession of coaches. Josh Heupel, for whatever criticism you have about Josh Heupel, his teams have never been bad. They've just been merely good. And Tennessee, in spite of the disappointment, was still a good football team this year, was ranked in the college football playoff and the AP top 25 until yesterday. I don't know what the polls say today, but I don't know, man. The reasons it did not go as well at Tennessee as Tennessee fans wanted were right in front of you from the beginning. People refuse to believe it. I think that's on them. I don't know, man. I just don't see how you can really have huge criticisms of either of those guys.
Well, and noted here too, yes, like the odds do fluctuate, and that's why like Kalani Sitake has been at the top for Penn State, I think, if you look at the odds on there. But it's very close between him, Heupel, Brian Daboll's on there now. Of course, DeBoer was on there, but he's lower in terms of the percentages and all that. So I don't know. Like again, it's kind of the same situation. If he leaves, if you're Tennessee, like where do you turn right now? And like Jay was mentioning, like hopefully Auburn's got the signed pen to paper there with Alex Golesh, but like I think that's something else too, where it's like I'm not sure. And don't worry, guys, I've seen the Pete Golding stuff. We're gonna sort through that confusion here in just a second. But I want to just stay on Heupel for just a minute because I do think that could be another big domino again, depending on how this goes. But I'm kind of with you, Chris. I get if there's some frustration just based on recent, hey, we didn't make the playoff this year, but man, I don't know. I don't think you can get rid of this guy.
But
and
if
feel good
Penn
about
State's luring him,
right? Yeah.
You're not. To be fair, I think diction is important here. It wouldn't be Penn State getting. It wouldn't be Tennessee getting rid of Heupel.
Right.
It would be the conversations about how much friction was there between athletic director Danny White and Heupel. How much did maybe he get overruled about Nico Amaliava? How much pressure is he going to feel to make assistant changes, especially on the defensive side of the football? I mean, because we've spent the last going on 80 minutes talking about the flurry of activity happening in the SEC. If we're talking about who would you get, Penn State's running out of damn time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I know they're probably looking far outside the South, but you still need to go find some dude. Isn't the early signing day like Wednesday?
Yes.
And that's how I should have finished. That was my bigger point. I didn't finish the statement. I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you should not be rooting for this guy to leave right now because I think that could set up a bad domino effect that would not be in your favor based on where things stand right now. I think that's probably the bigger issue. But who knows? Lincoln Riley wants a job, apparently, somewhere else. So I don't know. All right. Listen, we were going to on Heupel, but here we go. It has been announced 1 minute ago. Matt Zenitz, the expectation is that Ole Miss will name Pete Golding as its new permanent head coach. I told you guys we would get breaking news in this stream somehow, some way. Pete Golding, the new permanent head coach at Ole Miss. I will pull the tweet up so you know I am not lying. I would never do that to you guys anyways, but I will pull it up right here, and you can see that it is seemingly official that it is going to be Pete Golding, which means that Pete Golding will be the head coach of Ole Miss in the playoff because the man is the new head coach, period. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I think this is doing the best you can to make a disastrous situation at least somewhat tolerable in the short term, because Golding's got a chance to keep as many of those kids together as possible. He's got a chance to potentially keep some of the staff, maybe not many of the offensive staff, from not getting on the plane with Lane to Red Stick. Your team is going to be in the playoff and has a chance to do something none of us would have even thought, Lane Kiffin or no. And you go win a game or two, whew, you've already galvanized a fan base that is starving for it. And I think College Game Day in the first round of the playoffs has got to go to Oxford just for the signs that would be behind them about, holy goodness, Lane, come here, I got a train for you. I mean, whoo.
Never been a head coach, but obviously since he's been at Ole Miss, the defenses have gotten much, much better. Look, right now, what you need is continuity. I mean, you are playing the biggest football games in the history of the program ahead. You need unity. Like that is forget the future right now. What you need today cannot be overstated. And it feels like that went over pretty well at Ole Miss in a time where loyalty is something I think that is more valued there by everybody than it's been. How did Ole Miss do this, right? It did it through NIL, through the portal, through those relationships, all those things. And Pete Golding was a part of that. He's seen how the blueprint at Ole Miss has been built to have success. I don't know if he's going to be a head coach or not, or a good one. I mean, he's going to be their head coach. But there's something to be said for the reasoning that Ole Miss used here for sure.
Yeah, and just, again, people mentioned in the chat, Neil McCready about a half hour ago, and this is where we went down this rabbit hole here. He said initially two people have told us that Ole Miss players were told in the meeting that Pete Golding is the new head coach. One source said it was permanent. Very clear that Golding wanted the job badly. Basically still seeking official confirmation on that, but trending in that direction. So, I mean, what I will say is I think he's going to get players. And I think that's where, too, like if you look at the NIL and all that stuff, like we talked about, if he's going to get, if you're comparing allotments and all that of what he's going to have versus what Kiffin had, I think the dude will get players. And I think that's, as we said, very important in this era, is to go out and you look at the hand he's had and already getting some of these guys on this roster. And yes, he was with Bama for those years too. And so, I mean, I think it's a fascinating hire. And that's why we had the discussion a few minutes ago of like, what move do you have right now for Ole Miss? And that's where we kind of kept going in circles. We're like, I don't know. Based on the fact that it's such a unique scenario, Chris, where you're getting ready for a playoff game. And if you make the hire, when do you make the hire? If it's someone outside the program, well, now it's like we're going into a playoff. Our coach is bolted, basically, put us in a kind of no-win situation. But we're going to keep the guy who certainly played a big hand in Ole Miss's resurgence as a program. All in all honesty, I think, like you said, Jay, it may have been the best of the options they had available right now. And so we'll see how it turns out. But, I mean, I don't know if they had a lot of choices, to be honest with you.
I mean, Blake, think about all the ways that could have gone wrong with the wrong move here.
I mean, if he goes with Kiffin. No, but I mean, if just think
Yes.
if you lose Golding and he goes with Kiffin, I mean, then I just feel like you're just completely gutted at that point. And but I think that's a huge win for Ole Miss. There maybe not a lot of them in this scenario, but I don't know if he's going to get a 6-year contract. I don't know what the contract looks like. But again, those these days they are what they are. But man, it's kind of wild.
Blake, here's another thing, and excuse us for the ragged nature of this, because like it had never occurred to any of us before 10 minutes ago that Pete Golding was going to be Ole Miss's permanent head coach as of mid-afternoon today. No. But if Pete Golding is more popular in that locker room and that coaching staff than Lane Kiffin, then you wonder, a lot of the guys that Kiffin wanted to take, are they staying at Ole Miss now? How does that help you in recruiting for this year with signing day being around the corner? How does that help you retain players who don't go in the portal? You know, and if you have a relationship with the money people at Ole Miss, they have shown to be loyal to you, as they were to Lane Kiffin. So I don't know how it's going to go as a coach, but I don't know. It feels like that's a pretty good plan, man, to not have to go do a coaching search in the middle of a playoff run and crunch time for signing day.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Josh coming in saying he thinks Pete Golding is Jeremy Pruitt 2.0. $2 super chat on that. Also, by the way, 9-time champion has left a $2 super chat in Russian, and I cannot put it on the screen because I don't even know what it says.
Yeah,
so I can't.
Yeah, it could be.
I can't take a chance.
F-bomb. War Alex Golesh.
Oh, get it off the screen. We don't know what that says. It could say anything. Oh, you're gonna get us flagged.
Actually, I'm gonna copy and paste and see if there's a translator somewhere.
Don't.
I'm not gonna do that live, but
who knows? Just put it on. You just put it on the screen. Everybody remember, YouTube. Okay. Chris put that.
Anybody in a Russian in here?
Get that out there.
Blake was already worried about me being on the air for 90 minutes on a weekend day and not saying something stupid or getting us in trouble, and you're throwing out Russian F-bombs.
We don't know that.
All right. I don't even know where we are at this point. We were talking about Pete Golding. Jeremy Pruitt. There's so many names. Josh is talking about Jeremy Pruitt.
Where's Derek Dooley these days? What's he doing?
Man, there's so much going on. How do you think? Here, go ahead, Jay. And then I'll get
true. Apparently everybody's saying Golesh was born in Russia. Hey, man, I'll hug that cosmonaut around his neck next time I see him because I think it's awesome. But I will tell you this: I've written his name multiple times in columns for the Times Free Press here in Chattanooga. And know this, spell check turns Golesh into goulash every single damn time. Every single damn time.
Holy cow. He lived there. He lived in the Soviet Union until he was 7 years old.
You didn't know that?
No,
yeah, that's been the big thing. Like every time we've talked about Alex Golesh.
Not named Vandy, Chris. Damn. Even I knew that.
Every time we've talked about Golesh on this channel somewhere, like we always get these chats of like, you know, like we always get those. So, you're getting a lot more of them. So, Chris, we're gonna have to put you on a super chat pitch count here to where you can only pull up a certain amount per show because there are gonna be people spamming you with Russian super chats now, and I cannot take that thing. So here you go. Here's an interesting one. So. Again, I don't have this in front of me, but I trust our chat. Per an industry source, this from Neil McCready, Ole Miss has agreed to double the pay of all offensive staff, and they're staying with Ole Miss on Golding staff. Wow. If true. How about that? Hey,
right,
Ole Miss.
So now Lane Kiffin has to go to LSU, keep the signing class together, and do it without an offensive staff.
The football transfer, y'all need to put that up. I'm not stealing his comedy.
Which one? Hold on.
3 or 4 up, but they're coming in fast. Yes, you need to put that up because I'm not stealing his comedy. He deserves his moment.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yep.
So.
Vladimir Putin to coordinate the Auburn defense next year. Hey, it's going to be blitz heavy. All right. And offensively, we'll throw a lot of missiles. I'm sorry,
My
we're getting off
goodness.
the rails here.
My goodness. This has gone off the rails, but we should have known that was going to happen an hour and a half into this thing. Listen, though, if that is true about Ole Miss and the doubling of the pay and keeping the offensive staff, hey, shout out to,
Yes.
Keith Carter.
Keith
Yes.
Carter, the Ole Miss administration, who, were having to put themselves in a position where they were having to battle the victim here in Lane Kiffin. And if that is the way this thing has turned out, I mean, yes, I agree here. Huge win for Ole Miss. So
100%. And a monster double middle fingers, because now Kiffin's going to have to hire staff while he goes in and all this recruiting and everything else. And look, you handle your business the way Lane Kiffin has over the last 3 weeks. How comfortable are you going in as to be his OC in name only? I mean, are you wanting to join a staff where he's going to look up potentially and pull what he did in Knoxville, pull what he did in Oxford? I mean, I don't know, especially at this hour.
well, Chris can maybe get us some confirmation on the staff stuff there. I'm looking on Twitter, but I got a feeling that's probably there's got to be something like that in the works.
Well, I don't want to steal premium information from their board, but I am going to take a look.
I
at
get
some
it,
things
Chris,
here.
but I mean, we're in a situation here where it's like it's very relevant to the scenario. We can certainly direct them towards
Yeah, well, hey,
Neil's
look,
side.
Neil is a good friend of mine. In my opinion, he is the best in the business at covering any team anywhere. And if you're an Ole Miss fan and you're not on Rebels 24/7, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the updates are flying there. I'm trying to get on. The board may have crashed. Nope, it hasn't crashed.
By the way, this from 9-time champion. Lane is LSU's ho now. I want to note the spelling here on this. $2 super chat on this one.
And every LSU fan you ask is happy to have you.
All right, what else we got? Chat, you can drop your grade for this one too. If Ole Miss, everybody's still dropping their Russian comments. Also, Holly was unsubscribing because the FBI was knocking on Holly's door. Lane just posted. Okay, let me find that if that's the case, because we want to do that. This is why this one has, and boy, the comments on what he's posted. Quite interesting here. All right, here's what we're going to... I can't wait to read this one live. I'm reading every word of this to you guys. Okay, let's pull this up here. This is from Lane Kiffin on Twitter. Give me 1 second. I'm going to screenshot this. And nope, it has not been tweeted from the dog account, by the way. It's from his account. So... let's pull this up. I'm going to read it word for word. You guys are listening. Josh, we'll get to your super chat here in a second as well. All right, here we go. From Lane Kiffin. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. There we go. All right, it's kind of small, so I'll do my best here. That's what she said. All right, after a lot of prayer and time spent with family, I made the difficult decision to accept the head coaching position at LSU. I was hoping to complete a historic 6-season run with this year's team by leading Ole Miss through the playoffs, capitalizing on the team's incredible success and their commitment to finish strong, and investing everything into a playoff run with guardrails in place to protect the program in any areas of concern. One of the worst sentences I've ever seen. My request to do so was denied by Keith Carter, despite the team also asking him to allow me to keep coaching them so they could better maintain their high level of performance. Unfortunately, that means Friday's Egg Bowl was my last game coaching the Rebels. While I'm looking forward to a new start with a unique opportunity at LSU, I will forever cherish the incredible 6 years I spent at Ole Miss and will be rooting hard for the team to complete their mission and bring a championship to Oxford. What an unbelievable but fitting statement. To completely throw Keith Carter under the bus here, completely just throws what he puts his name in there.
All right, I got a question. I'm going to see if it's the same one you guys have. Did he just vomit his soul into AI and see
Chris,
what is this going to spit out? Because I cannot believe he would write that.
Let me read the second sentence again. Quote, I was hoping to complete a historic 6-season run with this year's team by leading Ole Miss through the playoffs, capitalizing on the team's incredible success and their commitment to finish strong, and investing everything into a playoff run with guardrails in place to protect the program in any areas of concern. That is one of the worst sentences I've ever seen for one of these statements, ever. Multiple commas, like just, Jay, you're the newspaper guy. This wouldn't get by the
No. Even in an opinion column, which apparently I don't believe Lane Kiffin wrote those.
There's no way.
I mean, I believe one of his minions crafted this.
I would say his high school son wrote it, but I would think a high school kid might have more sense.
Somebody nailed it and said Ed Orgeron helped him with
Trace is onto it here. He thinks it's Ed O. He thinks Ed O up there to write this.
I mean, look. But here, yes, that sentence is so contextually bad that it deserves all the scrutiny you want to give it. Here is the biggest missed opportunity here. He was trying to turn this into a pissing contest with Keith Carter. He just made Keith Carter a hero to all of the pissed off Ole Miss fans by saying Keith Carter said, no, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I mean, so no, he is now galvanizing Keith Carter. I don't know. We thought LSU fans hated Saban, but they hated Saban's success. There will be no animosity that I can recall in SEC history than what Ole Miss fans will feel towards Lane Kiffin.
I just did a Google search for narcissism, and this popped up.
That's what she said. Chris, Blake, you started it, man. I'm gonna work the Michael Scott in every time I can.
I mean, guys, this is just to sit there and throw Keith Carter and to also say, despite the team also asking him,
yes,
like as if every member of the team came up and said, Mr. Carter, we want our coach, Lane Kiffin, who we know is going to go coach LSU next week and a couple weeks from now. We want that very nice man to coach us because we know that he has our best interests at heart. And
when he's not calling bingo numbers down at the old folks' home, we know that he's helping old ladies cross streets and helping sell Girl Scout cookies outside the Food City in the greater Oxford area because he's that kind of caring soul. And look, hey, invest your $90 million well, Lane. Invest it well, brother.
I can't with the statement.
You guys have watched, remember the original 30 for 30 that ESPN put out? And there was one about like a day in July or something where like the NBA finals were being played, and
May 27th when the OJ chase broke.
Yeah. This feels like this times 2.
The Rangers were playing in Game 7. The Knicks were playing in the Eastern Conference Final, and Arnold Palmer was playing in his last major at Oakmont in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, I know we have a lot of LSU fans. And I know some people already have. Like, we're not piling on LSU.
No,
I think it's like,
no.
Hey, this is congratulations. Like, you've got a chance to be very successful with Lane Kiffin. I truly believe that. But if we can't take a step back and sit here and just completely rail on this guy for the way he's handled this entire thing, and despite what some people out there want you to believe of how he was the victim in this whole thing, let's take a step back.
Well, and coming on his own Twitter feed, I would have thought, honestly, And it doesn't even take a PR Phi Beta Kappa to figure this out. You just handle this with brevity, and then you be as gracious as possible when they introduce you tomorrow in Red Stick. I would have thought there's no possible way he could put the cherry on top of this banana split of disastrous handling and procedure until that statement.
Yeah.
We all need somebody in our life just to say, just shut up.
Just no.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, just no more.
But guess what? He gets a reset now. He gets to start over again. Like in
a place that is glad to have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just ask something. What happens if he goes 7-5, 8-4 at LSU next year, and then maybe loses 2 games to start 2027?
Listen, I think that's a great question for Eric because Eric is one of our longest reigning LSU fans, always here.
Love
and
Eric.
Eric's comment here is, as an LSU fan, I'm going on record and saying hiring Lane is a big mistake. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I do not want this man. And I think that's a great question for Eric because, like you said, what happens if that's the case? So, I don't know.
I don't think, to a super chat we just got from Jay Cart, I don't think the committee bumps Ole Miss for Miami. Ole Miss has 1 loss. It actually works. It really behooves Ole Miss not to be in the SEC title game because the committee has said over and over again they have not seen what a Kiffinless version of Ole Miss would look like, so they can't judge that comparatively. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So, no, I do not think Ole Miss gets dropped. But, I mean, now you're talking about a whole other layer of craziness that we didn't even get to because today was already so damn crazy. I came sprinting over here from brunch and have now spent the last 100 minutes talking to you, jackholes.
True. All right, a couple more super chats we're going to run through here. Donovan, $2 super chat. Ole Miss versus LSU now top 3 rivalry in the SEC, and maybe number 1 next year. Most watched game, I think, of the season potentially. Teller's going to say $2 super chat to say you guys are still supporting LSU. Wow. And then I believe either is a South Carolina fan or that was something else there on that. Well, with multiple options on that one. Kyle wants Lane Kiffin to make LSU great again. And I think Gil brings up a good point here. Like, you're right. It was never going to be a pretty situation.
Right.
I think that's very good point to circle back around to that. Very true. It was never going to be pretty. Completely agree on that.
But like everybody knows that, and you have to build that in as an expectation if you're Lane Kiffin. You have to do it that way. You cannot just keep throwing gasoline on the whole thing day after day after day. And that's what he did. I think if Lane Kiffin had just been honest and said, hey, I want to leave. I'm going to go to LSU. The timing sucks. I get it. But like, I just wonder if he'd done this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. There's no good way. There's no good way to do this. But holy smokes, the way he did it would have been hard to handle it more poorly than he did.
Succinctly, there is no good way to do this. We have now seen the worst way to do this.
And the tweets from his dog yesterday were just like, it made it very clear that he had not learned anything. And this is true. LSU does do well with eccentric personalities until they stop winning.
Do you think Edo's joining him?
Yes.
Probably.
And I think that'll be a big win for Kiffin. So, no doubt about it. All right. Sorry, I know, Josh, you had the super chat. I was just trying to kind of tie in our conversation right now. We're going to get to it here in a second. Just quickly to stay on the playoff thing real quick. 9-time champion had $2 super chat. If Georgia beats Alabama, is Alabama in and Vandy out?
I think so.
Georgia.
Probably so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Head to head.
I think
I do think the one on playoff, the one thing I'm interested to see is that does the committee kind of reconsider Notre Dame a little bit and say, hey, the two, lost 2 games, not a lot of great wins in there.
But I mean, they already established that's where they see them at. So I don't.
Yeah, but the problem is none of the favorites have been losing. And some of them have been tacking on pretty good wins, and Notre Dame has not done that in a few weeks.
If we're going to be honest, and one of the things I like most about this is the honesty on this. Taking the name off the front of the jersey is a mistake. Notre Dame's in, brother. Same, and really, I think if Alabama had lost to Auburn, Vandy would hop them, but I don't think the committee wants to set the precedent of losing the conference championship game being a penalty.
Yeah.
Because technically you're now talking about the SEC runner-up.
I mean, I think it's Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Miami, Texas is kind of an interesting conversation. The problem for Vanderbilt is it feels like it
Boise State
loses by comparison to a lot of turns.
Boise State if they lose the Big 12 title game.
Wait, what? Oh, you mean Texas Tech?
BYU.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another one in there too. I mean, that's a whole other show.
I think tomorrow we should. I think that's not a bad idea for tomorrow. I think tomorrow we should dive into the playoff because I think that's going to be a fascinating discussion coming out of this weekend. So you guys do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too. We got 2,000 plus of you in here right now watching between YouTube and Twitter. So do us a favor, hit the like button. That helps the channel. And be sure to subscribe. A lot of new people jumping in, I know, based on the Lane Kiffin scenario here over the past couple of days. We've had a ton of people watching. So, yeah, do us a favor on that. It helps us do more of these shows for you. Not all of our shows are usually an hour and 45 minutes long, but today, an extra large edition here of the show, just based on, again, all this chaos on this. All right, so let's get back to this because it does tie into what Josh was saying earlier with his super chat. We appreciate it, Josh. $10 super chat. Diehard Tennessee fan. Too angry to join the stream last night, but it's a travesty Vandy won't make the playoffs. They could absolutely win a playoff game with that offense just rolling. And, yeah, we'll get to Josh's next super chat here in a second. But, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see him in a playoff scenario, but don't see it.
I don't either. And it's tough because, look, we do the bets and ball games here. Brian and I do. And, look, rule 1 is don't bet against Diego Pavia.
Is he the Heisman favorite now?
No.
Is it still Mendoza?
It is.
I think that's the wrong one.
FanDuel's current odds have Mendoza at plus 105. They still have Sand at plus 155, and they got Pavia at plus 400. So,
and then, oh God, Jeremiah Love got hurt last night. Correctly?
Yeah, there's no one in the same stratosphere as those three. Love's at plus 1600. So those three will all be there without question, and I think Love will probably be there. And the next at that point is Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, who was at, I think, plus 20,000. So your invites are pretty clear, I think, for New York.
And deserved.
Yeah. All right.
That was the wild card with Notre Dame, is if Love got hurt. You saw what happened to Florida State a few years ago when it lost its quarterback. No, I don't think the impact is as dramatic as when if you lost Travis, because Notre Dame's got another running back who's pretty good too. But like for committees looking for reasons to keep teams out, there could be a couple of things there with Notre Dame. Not saying it's going to happen, but just throwing that out there.
All right, a couple more on the way out here. Josh with a $5 super chat. God forbid Heupel goes to Penn State. This place will be Armageddon. Of course, talking about Knoxville and Tennessee. Yeah, so weigh in, Josh. What do you think?
I can't put bandwidth around that because of all the craziness we've had to this point and all of it really happening in like the last 5+ hours. It's just, I feel like I need a cigarette. I mean,
Jay? Are you telling me we're going to get a Lane Kiffin coaching search and the potential of a Tennessee coaching search all in the same span?
No, I know.
Incredible that would.
I need to be 30 years. I need to be 20 years younger for that, and still drinking. So no, I can't do this. I can't do this at 55 and sober.
Check the private chat quickly, guys, or at least.
Well, yeah, give us what you got, Chris.
Well, it's literally coming to me. I'm just kind of making sure we're caught up on Ole Miss. I've got somebody texting me some things at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that we haven't caught I've got 8 browser tabs open to some of the top guys, and I just, I'm not seeing anything else worth mentioning unless I just alternate between all those. Again, guys, we'll be back tomorrow to do something. Probably tomorrow morning is the plan, whether it's looking at the college football playoff, whether it's talking more about these coaching things, whether Lane Kiffin has another statement to put out, whether Keith Carter puts out a statement. That's the one I'm waiting on. I want the Keith Carter statement next. But I want to see what he has
could write
to
a
say.
statement for Keith Carter.
That could be an interesting. I'd love to be the guy writing the statement for Keith Carter right now. I'd love to be that guy. But alas, I'm here with you two.
One update on Ole Miss. Apparently, the strength coach and the GM are going with Kiffin to LSU.
Makes sense.
All right.
Because even replacing from within, there are guys who those are hand-picked positions at the behest of the head coach. So that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Anything else in the chat? This is your 2-minute, 1-minute warning because we are about to hop off almost a 2-hour show. We have, if you're just jumping in, by the way, quickly, we have hit on every SEC coaching move that has been made today in this 2 hours. So if you just joined in now, go back to the start. I will timestamp this afterwards. You got to give me a little time, though, because it takes a bit to timestamp a 2-hour show. I will go back, put the timestamp in. You can check out each of the thoughts we had. Remember some of the thoughts we had initially on Lane Kiffin. Haven't really changed, but they escalated a bit when we got the statement on that. So I know some of you are watching from behind here. You're not watching live, which is fine. You'll catch up eventually. So yes, we do appreciate, this is one of our all-time streams here, which is not a surprise here on the channel, just based on, again, the chaos and all of this. So we didn't mention Mark Stoops. Do we think anything's happening there?
Man, who knows? That's apparently the Kentucky sports radio guys have had some thoughts on that recently. That felt like that had calmed down, and then the last 2 weeks, Kentucky was awful.
All right, one to watch. All right, Josh, on the way out, $2 super chat. If Heupel leaves, first call for UT, Gerard Mayo. And then he also says, of course, John, $2 super chat. Gruden would absolutely take that job right now.
Yes, he would.
No question.
And his wife was a cheerleader there, which I feel like is the obligated addendum because it always gets mentioned.
All right. There you have it. Again, if it was up to me, we'd stay on the stream in silence until Keith Carter releases a statement. We won't do that, though. But I can't wait to read that one live whenever we get that, hopefully for tomorrow. But we appreciate you guys.
I don't know what we're doing tomorrow.
I don't either.
But whenever we reconvene, I personally am going to write a Keith Carter statement that I will read to our listeners.
Okay.
So I think we should
and that's what I do for a living. And so, yes, I'm completely happy to write Keith Carter's statement. And I'll do everything in my power, Blake, not to include certain choice words that George Carlin warned us about all those many years ago.
If you do, just do it in Russian, because apparently that's the tone we've set here on the show. So, yeah.
Blake, I'm thinking I don't know how you would word this to engineer the result that you would want. If you could ask AI to write a Keith Carter response to Lane Kiffin that's like his caddy and 13-year-old Golesh is the one that he wrote on the way out. I would love to see that.
So I don't think it'll do it because
but let's just see.
I could do that.
You have to try. We can't just leave it here.
I don't think it's gonna work. Leaving. Let me see.
All right. Unless you guys want to hear me pee in a cup as we're
just
doing
go, Jay. Away, go.
Hey, you guys were great in the chat. I'll see y'all.
See you, Jay Greeson.
All right. All right. So
maybe Trey can help us here. Trey's is good.
Let's see. So I do have ChatGPT that has just pushed out a statement to me, as if Keith Carter. I gave it some instructions. This is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Okay, this is not bad. I can make it angry. All right, I'm gonna let the chat guess here, and we're gonna keep this under 2 hours. But chat, you have the option. We can either tell ChatGPT we want this statement to be angrier, more subtle, more diplomatic, or more press conference official. I know exactly.
Is that even a choice? Come on, man.
I know it's going to be angrier, but I'm going to read you what we have here, though. All right. By the way, this is not an official statement for Keith Carter. Let me say that multiple times. Not an official statement. We are asking ChatGPT for a statement. Quote, "It's disappointing. There's no other way to put it. We invested in Lane. We trusted him. We backed him at every turn. And we believe we were building something special here at Ole Miss. To see him walk away for LSU, a division rival, after everything we poured into this program stings. But our players, our staff, and our fans, they deserve better than a coach with 1 foot out the door while we were elevating this program to the playoffs. Ole Miss has never been a stepping stone, and I won't allow it to become one now. We're going to move forward with someone who wants to be here, someone who believes in this university as much as we believe in them. If Lane thinks the grass is greener in Baton Rouge, that's his decision. But I can promise you this, Ole Miss will just be fine, or will be just fine, and we'll remember who was truly committed when it mattered most." That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. Now,
can you ask it to do it again, but be a little more petty?
Absolutely. If I can make this more petty. So remember, not an official statement. I'll make that very clear, but not an official statement. Here we go. I'm going to read this, and I haven't. All right, we got to do this.
I almost want you to read it live without even knowing what's there, just to see your reaction.
I haven't. I have not read this, so I'm going to read it on the fly, and I'll change words if I have to. Quote, "Well, I guess everyone finds out who really wants to be here eventually. We've been over backwards for Lane. Resources, support, facilities, everything he asked for, and then some. And after all that, he bolts for LSU like it's some kind of upgrade. If he thinks trading in genuine support for a bigger ego trip down in Baton Rouge is the right move, that's on him. But we're not going to chase someone who's been flirting with every job rumor for the last 2 years anyways." ChatGPT. Ole Miss deserves a coach who's actually committed, not someone who treats this place like a rest stop on the way to the next shiny offer. So if Lane wants to pretend the grass is greener at LSU, fine. We'll see how long it takes before he's shopping around again. In the meantime, we'll be over here finding someone who actually wants to win a championship, not someone who just wants attention. Wow. Look at that. Incredible.
I know we're pressed for time. There would be one more logical step. I'm going to see if you can guess it.
Whew, I don't know. Tell me. We got one more.
We need a response to that from the governor of Louisiana.
Oh, gosh. You
know
what?
Might be tomorrow's show.
That may be a tomorrow thing. You know what? Write a song. Someone just suggested write a song about it. Donovan did, so we're going to do that on the way out. All right? So on the way out, here we go. I've got a song coming. Oh, my goodness. This is absolutely incredible. Do you guys really want me to sing this? I don't know if I can. This is one of the longest songs I've ever seen in my life.
Just read it.
It's called The Petty Diss Track. And I mean, if I have to rap this thing, I don't think it's going to be good. How you doing? Talking about spitting bars over here. Some people have just jumped in, by the way, and they're like, when did this show go off the rails? Don't worry, folks. It happened a long time ago.
The biggest thing is that this went off the rails without the help of Jay Greeson. You and I did this on our own.
Yeah. If I did it under the governor, I don't know if, like Eric says, I'm not sure that would end well. All right, I'm gonna do this, okay? And I'm doing this for you guys because some of you have hung around for 2 hours now, and we still have 1,800 people in here watching for some reason. I don't know why at this point. But ChatGPT just gave me a diss track for Keith Carter to sing to Lane Kiffin, and let's see what we think about it. All right, here we go. Well, you packed up your visor and slipped out the door. Said Baton Rouge had something you'd been looking for. We gave you the keys. Hell, we paved you the road. Guess loyalty don't matter when the checkbooks unload. You left a trail of tweets and rumors in your wake. Should have seen it coming. A man can only take so much fake. What a line. So go on, Lane. Chase that purple and gold. Trade hard for hype. Trade young for old. But when the lights fade out and the winds run thin, don't come crawling back to Oxford again. Because we're moving on, and boy, you've been told. Hope you're happy with your purple and gold. We defended your antics. We laughed at your jokes. We put up with your sideline meltdowns and subtweet pokes. But LSU flashed cash, and you dropped your grin. Funny how fast family stops being your kin. You said it's just business. Well, bless your heart. Funny how business looks a lot like breaking ours apart. Oh, this is a sad country song right here. Holy cow. So go on, Lane. Chase that purple and gold. Oh, this is just the same chorus again. I'm moving on past this. And maybe one day when the bayou gets cold, you'll think about the hotty-toddy nights you sold. But memories don't win games, and neither do lies. Enjoy your kingdom built on alibis. Back to the chorus. You take that job. Go prove you're bold. Just don't forget who made your story gold. Oh, my goodness.
I think my favorite part of that was AI dropping the bless your heart in there.
Yeah. Well, the bless your heart was definitely that's how you really kind of knew.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, I don't know if Keith Carter will be doing a diss track for Lane Kiffin. The official statement may be out soon. But there you have it. For all of you who decided to stick around to about the last 5 minutes of this 2-hour stream, there's your special. And then, by the way, it also gave me a meaner version called Bayou Backstabber. We may save that for tomorrow. There is your incentive. If you want to subscribe, turn on your notifications. The plan for tomorrow will probably go live around 10, 11, maybe earlier, something like that, Central Time. I will read Bayou Backstabber live on the air. This is one you're not going to want to miss because I'm looking at this one, and this one really, it escalates pretty quickly. So, yeah. All right. Bayou Backstabber coming tomorrow. You guys are the best. I got to stamp this thing. Holy cow. Yeah, and as Sam says, by the way, after that song right there, if you don't become a legend here at Southeastern 16, join the membership. It's pinned to the top of the comments right there. If you become a legend, you get a chance to join us on the show. So you get to pick the topic, all that stuff. So I'm telling you, do us a favor, support the channel. That keeps us going. We appreciate all you guys. So,
yeah. Appreciate our audience. Love all you guys. Thanks for being here. Hope you had as much fun with this as we did. What a roller coaster ride the last 2 hours has been as we watched some stuff break in real time and Lane Kiffin tweets and all of it. Donovan said this is the top 5 moment all time of the channel. He might be right. I think it's one we won't be forgetting anytime soon.
Bayou Backstabber coming tomorrow. Could be the best moment ever. You don't know. So
it could be.
We'll find out.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your super chats. Those of you who joined the channel, thanks for doing that. We've got special content just for you. Appreciate every one of you here. Have a great rest of your weekend. God bless you. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.